That does sound better. It's pretty cool. Is that an old Ringo trick?
Two heads are better than one.
Yeah. To me, I think there's more of just a mix of songs and wider variety of tunes than on the other records. I think they're stretching out and moving in some, Tylor's writing is moving in some forward directions, and there's all kinds of stuff. There's long songs, short songs, country rock, even more rock and sort of folkish front porch kind of things. I think it's great. Mr. Johnny Shoes, there just isn't a better guitar player around, and I think his tones, what he can play.
Johnny's he's one of those players who he sounds like a record every time he plays. There's no noodling, there's no overplaying. It's just like right there.
He's one of the few players that I've played with that listens to the lyrics, and there's a lot of give and take on this album. There's a lot of lyric, and then here's the guitar part, or here's the pedal steel part, or whatever. And Johnny's the best at, he listens to the lyrics and then he uses the lyrics to come up with his lick, which just ties everything together so nicely.
For me, some of what I would normally do when we play as just a four-piece band, I'm covering a lot more territory, and now I can just have selected parts and be part of the bigger sound.
It's refreshing to see a band do things the right way and work really hard at their craft. And there's so many bands out there these days that spend all their time worrying about their image and the marketing, and they spend all their time working on Facebook and social media and all that stuff, and they forget to go and practice, and actually work on their songwriting.
Well, you can stick around for much too long and still be the first one to make it out. I've been here just long enough. I'm jonesing hard for a walkabout.
Johnny had worked with Robbie in the early days. Same with Cody. When Cody was a little kid, he was recording with Rob, and then Cody being in a band with his brother, and growing up with a family band and all that. It just fit really nicely with what we do with the brother harmony.
There's something about this town. I'll do my best to be elsewhere bound, but like a boomerang, I'll keep coming back around. For the road don't know my name. It's pulling reins on my plans for big change. So adios for now.
The studio is fantastic. Having Robbie be mixing is fantastic. The new board in the studio is making everything sound like $2 million.
It's been really smooth, and Rob's been doing a great job making us sound good.
Working with Rob Mattson is kind of like the dream coming true, and personally, for the whole project, for everyone, what he adds and brings to it is amazing on so many levels.
Now, I've been working with him since I was a little kid, and did our first records with him when we were kids with my dad and my brothers.
He's an old friend, and we've played music together in bands and as an acoustic duo, and I've gotten to record with him in the past before he moved away to Nashville and stayed away way too long.
And we brought him in on some Reckless Kelly records in Austin. He's an incredible engineer and a great guy and a great player, great singer. He just adds so much to the project, whatever you're working on. And I was thrilled to find out that he had moved back to Boise and was working here at Audio Lab.
I have been working with Robbie since the late 1970s. I met him, I think, then after he got out of. He might have still been going to Boise State School of Music, getting his degree, and he was playing with Penno Bennett and the Republicans, I believe was the name of the band in those days. But we just got to know each other, and we played at Pingilly's together, and then Robbie built a studio. And all through the 80s, I recorded with him a lot of projects. I would come in and sort of be a gun for hire for whoever was recording at his studio. And so Robbie and I have worked together for over 30 years. Really, over 30 years, because I've been married almost 30 years, and I knew Robbie before I met my wife. So selfishly for me, on top of just making the album, I get to spend time with my old friend Rob.
Entwining on my mind, I'm feeling so inclined to find the truth.
Having Cody and Rob be a part of the project was kind of perfect because, they're both from Idaho. They both came from Idaho. They both know the Pinto Bennett and the Motel Cowboys. That sound is like very Idaho, and we've always kind of wanted to throw that into our music. It's mixed with the Texas stuff. It's mixed with the Oklahoma stuff, but we always really wanted to show the Idaho colors too.
Having Cody Braun as the producer, that was the smartest thing, in my opinion, that Tyler could have done, was to get somebody to wrangle all this together and make it a project manager to come in and produce us and make a good project out of it.
Cody, his vision, he's got such great vision for the project, and that's the thing, is that he can see the forest for the trees. When you're involved in the band and trying to produce an album and you're within the band, it's really hard to see the forest for the trees. So that's producer's job, and he's really good at that.
It was just like this moment for Tyler where he could just be there in the studio and be in his creative space the whole time and not worrying about the little details, because he knew that those little details were going to be picked up by one of the other people who were kind of cradling this project in their arms and carrying it along.
I mean, one of my first CDs in my first truck was a Reckless Kelly album, Bulletproof. And I never ever would have thought that, somebody on that album would be producing one of my albums someday. When I sit back and think, it's like a lot of my influences and how I write and the music I like to listen to came from Reckless Kelly and came from the people that Cody's played with, and it was on a Steve Earle album. They played with Joe Ely, and they play, like all these people that have played the reunion, and that Cody's got to know over the years. It's just like all my big influences. So it was like getting to have literally somebody that I learned from and was influenced by come in and listen and work on my music. It's really a dream come true.
It's a full circle thing for me. Some of these guys I've known for over 30 years, and now I'm getting to play with young musicians that are so talented. It's just, it's the most rewarding phase in my 40-some year music career is this.